Everyone, Dr. Zeo here again, and it's time for Rafkon! After, what is it, 22 episodes of Season 1, and now 13 episodes of Season 2, we are finally on Power Rangers Dino Fury, Season 2, Episode 14, Rafkon Revealed. And boy, the Rangers finally go to Rafkon, and this is a fantastic episode. So, let's go ahead and talk about it. So, as always, we'll do our summary, likes, dislikes, conclusion, and then our questions of the week. So, for the summary, there's really not much to talk about, surprisingly enough. The A plot is really the Rangers going to Rafkon after Amelia and Javi take the day off from Buzz Blast duties, and we're on Rafkon. They use the T-Rex Cosmic Megazord to get to Rafkon. And then once they're on Rafkon, they find Lord Zedd, Scrozzle, Boom Blaster, and Noli. Is that all of them? Yeah, that's all of them. And basically, we find out that Lord Zedd's ultimate plan is getting the Sporks generator back online and making himself an army of Sporks. And the Rangers try and stop him. They do end up finding the Sporks generator and accidentally leading Lord Zedd to the item itself. They try and stop him, but Lord Zedd is a little bit too powerful, and Ion is a little bit too cocky. He interpreted the Green Morphin Master's message as specifically Ion being the key to stopping Lord Zedd. Well, I mean, so that was her message, but he interpreted it as he alone can stop Lord Zedd, not that him, in addition to the other 5 Rangers, can stop Lord Zedd. This leads to him, and near the end of the episode, well, multiple times throughout the episode, going in charging alone to fight Lord Zedd. And this finally, backfires on him at the end of the episode, where Lord Zedd just one-shots him, demorphs him, and then shoots at Zato, and ends up demorphing him as well. And then the Rangers get teleported back to the base, and, Zato's life signs are kind of, they're not in a good place right now. They're decreasing, and they're steadily decreasing, right? And Solon can't do anything to help. But thankfully, the Green Morphin Master pops up and is like, hey, it's going to be all good. I've got you all. And then as the B plot would have you, as the B plot, we have Jane and Jayborg leading a capture the flag match with Nerf guns. And so it's Jane's team versus Jayborg's team, and eventually Jayborg's team ends up winning. And that's really a speed run of the plot of the episode. So, let's go ahead and talk about my many likes for this episode. So first things first, I love the fact that there are consequences, tangible consequences, for Ion misinterpreting the Green Morphin Master's message. Throughout the episode, Ion is very cockily all about, alright, it's time for me to stop Lord Zedd, and I'm gonna stop Lord Zedd. And at some point, Izzy is like, alright, you've only said it 100 times, we know, Ion. And even when he does get really cocky back at the base, the other Rangers, Javi specifically, are like, Ion, that's a tall order for one person. And Ion's like, you know what, y'all don't believe me? Alright, let me show you my memory. So he grabs onto Javi and Ollie, and he shows them his memory of the Green Morphin Master waking him up and telling him, hey, Ion, you're the key to stopping Lord Zedd. So they kind of back off him, but still they're kind of apprehensive about him, his cockiness. And as I mentioned during the summary, this eventually leads to him having a 1v1 confrontation with Lord Zedd that lasts all of 2 seconds because Lord Zedd has his staff now, and as he said earlier, back in the Halloween special, as soon as I get my staff, I'm gonna come back and raise Earth or something along those lines. And he was very serious about that threat because with his staff, he's able to one-shot Ion in just a beautiful moment of fuck around and find out. And boy, did my man find out. And it demorphed him in one shot. And then even Zato, he tries using the shield block Dino Key to block Lord Zedd's shots because Lord Zedd was about to go for the kill shot. So Zato starts blocking the shot, and it works for a few shots. Even one of them misses Zato, or I think it either missed Zato or deflected off of Zato's shield block. Ends up going back into the quarry and destroys Noli for the Rangers. Or not Noli. And it ends up destroying Scissor Eye, who I forgot to mention is also here. But yeah, Scissor Eye ends up getting destroyed by Lord Zedd accidentally. And eventually, the shield block doesn't work anymore and ends up demorphing Zato and throwing him back. And Zato ends up passing out. Again, these are very tangible consequences for Ion's cockiness and not trusting in his team and misinterpreting the Green Morphin Master's message. And I was here for every single last second of it. Another thing I liked about this episode were the Ollie and Amelia moments. They were just two moments here at the start of the episode, but they were so, so, so cute. Like, Amelia is over here cuddling up to Ollie, and she brings up the fact that, Madame Indigo said that they were going to have a happy relationship together. It was adorable. Like, I like seeing these two together finally. I like seeing them being a happy couple so far, and I hope to see more of this, like we did with Izzy and Fern in future episodes. The 8 that we have left over. But aside from that, I also liked the Nerf scene at Buzz Blast. Like, it was fun. It was fun for the most part. There's one thing I didn't like that we'll get into here during my dislike section. But overall, the Nerf scene was a lot of fun. Didn't really detract too much from the overall plot of the episode. So props on that. Even the Trojan horse part. There's a bit where, as Jane's team's getting ready, they walk down the steps from Jane's office, and then a delivery person comes in. He's like, "Hey, package for Jane," and she's like, "I didn't order a package," and it's a giant Trojan horse. And then holes poke out of the Trojan horse, and it's Jayborg and her team, and they start firing their little Nerf guns, and they hit Annie, who we've seen in these last two episodes. But basically, Jane's all like, "No!" She's like, "Annie, this is the second year in a row we've gotten out within the first few seconds." And then she just drops Annie. And that was funny. A good little bit of comedy in this episode. I absolutely loved it. Additionally, though, the Rangers, when they get to Rafkon, they orbit Rafkon with a T-Rex Cosmic Megazord, and they immediately start scanning the planet to look for any pockets of civilization or large pockets of people in like a large population, so that they can ask them if they've seen Lord Zedd around. And that was resourceful. This is the second time we've seen the T-Rex Cosmic Megazord use the scanning ability. The first time was in, I believe it was season 2, episode 2, the festival, where Zato was initially looking for Rafkon. When he doesn't find it, he uses the scanning ability to find it, and ends up finding the first part or the second part of the Rafkon message. So seeing that pop up again, it's nice, and it's a resourceful use of having these original cockpits, and I like that. Again, props on that. I like that a lot. But eventually, they don't find anything. Actually, there weren't any Rafkons on Rafkon itself. So Ollie suggests increasing the scanner's scanning ability, and that's when they find one little pocket of people, and it turns out to be Lord Zedd, and then they teleport onto the planet. But other than that, there were some other good bits of comedy. When they can't find people on Rafkon, Javi, still in the Megazord, says, "Did everyone go on vacation at the exact same time?" And Izzy just gives him this look. Well, they're still in their suits and everything, but she just gives him this look and gives him a sigh, and that was good. As I mentioned before, I love my Garcia sibling moments in this episode, and there was one more Garcia sibling moment when they were fighting against Boom Blaster. A nice little callback to their fight against Boom Tower back in their debut episode in season 1. But while they're fighting Boom Blaster, Izzy makes a comment about having a knee-jerk reaction, and that leads to her kneeing Boom Blast, hopping off a tree and then kneeing Boom Blaster in the side of his head or in the side of his body and calling him a jerk. And that was funny. And even Izzy and Javi had some really good synergy in this fight as well, even though most of it was reused soldier footage, but it worked for the sibling dynamic. Again, I love it. Keep at it. And continuing on with the Izzy and Javi moments, there's also one scene as soon as they get back onto Rafkon itself and they demorph, which I didn't include this in my dislike section because it's not that big of a deal. But again, it was weird that they demorphed when they knew they were going to go see Lord Zedd. Like, why would you do that? That doesn't make any sense. Like, it's giving me Snag Eye vibes from when they teamed up with Void Knight and they got captured by Snag Eye. Like, why would you demorph in this situation? But anyway, when they teleport down to the planet, they're like, "What's that smell?" And Izzy's like, "Are you sure it's not Javi and his new cologne?" And he's like, "Hey, this is his signature scent." And that was funny. Again, Izzy and Javi ribbing on each other is always going to be comedy gold for me. So speaking of Rafkon, there's a scene in this episode that is probably has one of the best, like most beautiful scenes just in Power Rangers history alone. Like the cinematography here is really really good. So after they end up fighting Boom Blaster, Lord Zedd and Skrulls will end up teleporting away, and everyone else teleports away as well. The Rangers again demorph, and then they're like, okay, we have to find the Sporix generator before Lord Zedd. Javi suggests, from the advice he draws upon advice that his dad gave him, that when you're trying to find something, search for higher ground. And then Izzy calls him Warden Jr., which is again a cute moment. So they go up onto this hill, and just the shot of them on the hill was just gorgeous. And they look out over the hill onto the valleys below, and we find out that this is actually Imaruo, sorry, which is Zato and Ion's home city. And we go through this scene of it transitioning back into like the standard Rafkon landscape back before the Sporix Beast attacked. And Zato uses this as an opportunity to reflect on Rafkon. He tells us that there was a library of learning where it had 1,000 books for every scholar. And there's where the spaceport was. And we see like a little CGI of a ship coming into the spaceport. And that's where the market was. And this over there in the distance was where my family used to live. And it was just a very melancholic, down-to-earth moment for Zato, where he gets to reflect on everything. And at the end of it, he's like, this was, again, before the Sporix battle. And it transitions to a desolated Imaruo after the Sporix got done doing their thing 65 million years ago. And just that transition and seeing the before and the after helps to sell Russell Curry's just sadness in that moment. And again, fantastic acting on his part in this moment, and fantastic cinematography. Like, God, Dino Fury's had some really good cinematography for season 2, and I'm absolutely loving it. I'm here for every single second. I can't wait to see what the rest of this season has to bring for us in the cinematography category. Oh, and another thing is after this scene, what is it? Ion says, "Hey, Zato, we have to find the Sporix generator. After we defeat Lord Zedd, then we can go down a trip from Memory Lane and give everyone a tour of the place." So they go. He suggests, or he points out to where the military council used to do their testing of their military weapons. So they start heading in that direction because that's most likely where the Sporix generator is going to be. And Lord Zedd, we transition to Lord Zedd more or less near the bottom of the hill, and he's using his little vision he had back in the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers days. So it was nice that they remembered that. And even later on, they asked, I think it was Ollie asks, is it possible for the Sporix generator still be around 65 million years ago? And we get a good explanation in that, yes, it is possible because 1, the Sporix generator is built underground, and 2, it's attached to the Rafkon's magma core. So if it gets destroyed, it's going to disrupt that magma core and destabilize the planet. So good on them for thinking about that. And even in this scene, we get another cute Ollie and Amelia moment because they suggest, hey, whoever finds something first gets a prize. And Amelia immediately finds the controls for the Sporix generator, and she's like, all right, Ollie, what's my prize? And he says, a date with me next week for pizza. And she's like, we were already going to do that with my coupon. I thought that was cute. Y'all are too cute. Keep doing you. But continuing on with some good cinematography, when the Rangers end up fighting Noli and Boom Blaster, there's a snippet, like just a few seconds of US footage there, that was really, really good. Ion's fighting, I think he was fighting Boom Blaster in that scene, and then Zato is fighting somebody, or there's another sequence of original footage, and both instances looked really, really good. And as I mentioned before, these good original fights make me hyped for Cosmic Fury and the potential that that season has. And honestly, it's making me hope more and more that we get original suits for that season, just so that they're forced to use more original fight scenes, because I cannot wait to see what the New Zealand stunt crew can do when when they don't have, Japanese footage to lean on in the fights, when it's all just the New Zealand stunt team going ham. I really want to see what that looks like in this era, because they've been doing a really good job with Dino Fury. Like, I'm more excited for American footage fight scenes now than I have been in years, and that's good. That's really, really good. But speaking of the fight scenes, again, as I mentioned before, another thing I liked is that Lord Zedd in this episode is shown to be a force to be reckoned with. Like, he one shots Ion, and he almost one shot Zato, and that was dope. Up until this point, we really haven't really seen a good display of Lord Zedd's strength. Like, yes, he's strong armed. He's strong armed. Void Knight and everyone else in the base during the Halloween special. And yes, he was able to take on all 5 Rangers and 2 Sporix beasts in that same episode, and that was good. That was really good. But actually seeing what he can do when he's at full strength with his Z staff, it was chilling. Like, that was good. Like, he had the Rangers on their knees. Like, he demorphed Ion, demorphed Zato, and then he was gonna go in for the kill shot when the other Rangers came in. He was about to wipe them off the face of Rafkon before, they got shielded, by the Green Morphin Master and teleported away. And I'm like, dude, Lord Zedd is not one to fuck with, and I love it. Like, this is good. This is really, really good. But beyond that, the last thing I liked for this episode was once they get back to the base, they tell Solon, hey Solon, we need some help. And Solon, they put Zato into the beds in the med bay, and Solon's like, oh, my poor boy. I'm like, oh, that's cute. Like, the motherly side of Solon came out, because yeah, you should expect that, because Solon spent 65 million years just watching over Zato in his stasis tube. So of course he's got that motherly instinct and wants to protect Zato. And like, seeing those moments where Solon gets very protective of Zato is always nice. Like, we've seen it in this episode, and we also saw it in Slither's debut episode when he was masquerading as as the imposter Rafkon woman, whose name completely escapes me right now. But seeing those motherly moments from Solon, it's cute. It's really, really cute. But let's go ahead and talk about our dislikes, which there are very few in this episode. Really only 2. My first dislike was at the start of the episode, when we go from the Rangers using the T-Rex Cosmic Megazord to teleport off to Rafkon, we switch back to Buzz Blast, and this is when they're getting ready for the competition, and they're about to start. And I felt like it was a very abrupt scene change. Like, here we are, we're hyped to go to Rafkon, and then they completely deflate that moment by going back to Buzz Blast. And the transitions to Buzz Blast later on in the episode feel a lot more organic, and they're positioned in spots where things have kind of died down on Rafkon, so you have a chance to make that transition effortlessly without kind of ruining the pacing on the Rafkon side of things. So I feel like that could have been done a little bit better here at the first part of this episode. The only other thing I didn't like was that, as I mentioned before, the Ryu Soldier effects tend to be a little bit much, and they tend to distract or detract from some of the good choreography on the Japanese side of things. And that's no different in this episode. When they were fighting Snag Eye, or not Snag Eye, when they were fighting No Lie, Boom Blaster, and Scissor Eye, again, a lot of Ryu Soldier effects just made the fight choreography hard to follow and hard to appreciate. And I didn't like that, which is, again, another reason why I appreciate the American fight scenes, because they don't have that overabundance of special effects. They use their choreography very well, and yeah, I appreciate that. But those are my likes and dislikes. Overall, though, conclusion wise, this is a fantastic episode that showed us what Lord Zedd's plan was. Showed him that yes, this he is a force to be reckoned with, especially with his Z staff again. Showed us a brief snippet of Rafkon, and brought up a question of where the Rafkon people are, and it also set up the Green Morphin Master for the next episode. So yeah, 2 thumbs up from me. But on to our questions of the week, of which I really only have one question of the week, and that is, where in the world are the people of Rafkon? We got the scanning scene from the Rangers, and we know that the people on Rafkon don't really seem to be on the planet. Could they be hiding underground somehow? Where are they? We know that they moved the planet so that it could heal, but if they're not on Rafkon, then where did they go to exactly? But yeah, hopefully we get that answer here soon, because we only have another 8 episodes before things are done. But yeah, that's all we have. That's all the time we have for today. That's really the end of the video. Let me know what y'all thought about it in the comment section below. Please like, subscribe, and comment, because it does help me for the YouTube algorithm. Beyond that, though, get your Omicron boosters. They are available. Go to CVS, Walgreens, or wherever you can to get that booster. Still mask up and stay safe, because COVID is no joke out there. But thank you as always for watching. Until next time, I'll see y'all later. Ciao.